Welcome students. In this video, we will be discussing the geographical locations which were in news, particularly from January 2025 till April 2025. So in these couple of 4 months, like the geographical locations which were in news, we will be going through. Also, I have covered the important geographical locations which were in news since June 2024 to December 2024. So all these locations have been there in the part 1 of this geographical locations series. This video is part 2. Okay, so I advise you people to watch that video first and then come back to this and then revise both. Okay, so let's start. We are going to discuss geographical locations. This is me, Rohan Salunkhe, and let's start with the geographical location series. So as mentioned, part 1, the locations in news particularly from June 24 to December 24 have already been discussed in the part 1. So you can watch that part 1, the link in the description over there. Then this video is part 2, where we will be focusing on the locations in news from Jan 25 till April 2025. Okay, so world locations in news. We will see first the world locations which were in news. Now, we will go by region wise. Okay, we will be discussing the Eurasian region first, wherein you can pause, you can take a screenshot of the news over there. We won't be discussing the news. All what we will be discussing is the geographical location and the political borders, basically the neighboring countries, the neighboring water bodies, which is there. Okay, so you can see here Armenia and Azerbaijan are in news, particularly with respect to the conflict region that is at Nagorno-Karabakh. Okay, Nagorno-Karabakh is a region which is like having a conflict between these two nations, right? Armenia and Azerbaijan. So you can see the location of Armenia and Azerbaijan. Naturally, they will be sharing the border. You can see the red part over here, the red highlighted part, which is the border between Armenia and Azerbaijan, right? These two countries. Now, whenever we look for any geographical location, we discuss two things. That is, first is like the neighboring countries, and then we discuss the water bodies associated with that country or any particular like sharing border or any coast with that country, right? So here, first we will refer to the neighboring countries. So you can see first Armenia. Armenia is sharing its border with Turkey. Okay, then you can see Iran over here. Fine. This is the small part which is being shared between Armenia and Iran. And then towards the north, you will see Georgia. Okay. Now, this natural border again is in between Armenia and Azerbaijan, right? So you can see here Azerbaijan and Armenia. Fine. Now, we will see the geographical location of Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan over here, it's sharing its border with multiple countries. You can see down towards here, it's Iran, then Armenia on the left hand side, okay, and then Russia towards north, and then towards the northwest, it's Georgia. Fine. Now, if you zoom in it, if you zoom it a little, you will get to see that Azerbaijan, this part of Azerbaijan is sharing the border with Turkey as well. Okay, so whatever countries you are seeing here, whatever countries you are seeing in this particular part, all of them are sharing border with Armenia as well as Azerbaijan. Okay, now when it comes to water body, so Caspian Sea is sharing the border with Azerbaijan. Okay, so these were the things associated with the two important locations. Now, moving ahead, we will go in detail and we will see Caspian Sea as well. Caspian Sea also we have discussed in the part 1. Previous year also we have discussed about Caspian Sea, because Caspian Sea is in news for multiple reasons, right? Here again, since the geography of Azerbaijan is being discussed, that is the reason we will be discussing the Caspian Sea again. So Caspian Sea, what all are the countries which are sharing the border with Caspian Sea? So you can see here, Russia is there. Okay, then Kazakhstan is there. Then you will see Turkmenistan. Down here, it's Iran. Fine. Then Azerbaijan, as we have discussed. So there is a trick to remember these countries. Okay, there is a trick to remember these countries. So like TAC, T-A-R-I-K. Tariq. Okay, Tariq. So T for Turkmenistan, A for Azerbaijan, R for Russia, I for Iran, and K for Kazakhstan. So you can directly remember these nations, and then directly you can correlate it with the neighboring countries of Caspian Sea. Okay, so let's move ahead. Fine. Before moving ahead, you can see there is Aral Sea, which is written over here. So you need to remember that Aral Sea is sharing the border between Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan. Okay, remember this. Fine. Now, we will go and see the European region. Fine. So, Baltic Sea. Baltic Sea we have already discussed in the part 1, but for some another reason. Now, again, in part 2 of the geographical locations series, this location is again in news, and that is for another reason. So you can read the reason over here. We are not going to see the reason. We will directly refer to the geography of Baltic Sea, and we'll also see the trick. Okay, so this is the same trick which we have discussed earlier in part 1. That is Delhi engineer first. Okay, Delhi engineer first. German ladki love, proposal reject, and then she was shocked. Okay, so the story was like Delhi का engineer है जो first आया है, and उसको जर्मन लड़की ने एक proposal भेजा, right? And that proposal was rejected, and then the लड़की was shocked. Okay, the German लड़की was shocked. ठीक है, fine. So now we will refer to the geographical or let's say the neighboring boundaries of Baltic Sea. So this is the trick to remember the neighboring boundaries. Okay, D say you're having Denmark over here. Then E. From E, you're having Estonia. Okay. Then F, Finland. Then G. G say Germany. Okay. In fact, the German ladki to Germany. Fine. L. There are two L over here. Ladki love. Okay. So L and L. So L say first Latvia. Then L say Lithuania. Okay. Lithuania. Okay. Lithuania. That is the correct pronunciation. Right. Now, proposal. So P over here. P say Poland. Fine. R, Russia. Fine. And then S, that is Sweden. So again, you need to remember that Russia is sharing the border here in the Gulf of Finland, and again in this part. Okay. There are also two water bodies which are like inside the Baltic Sea. So you can see here it's Gulf of Bothnia, and here you can see it's Gulf of Finland. Okay. Now, let's move ahead. We will see Lithuania in detail since it's in news. Lithuania. So you can see this is the country Lithuania. Now you need to see which are the geographical like boundaries, or let's say which are the neighboring countries sharing border with Lithuania. So towards north, you will get to see it's Latvia. Towards the right hand side, Belarus is there. Down towards this Lithuania is Poland, and then southwestern side it's Russia. And this is the Baltic Sea which we have discussed recently. Okay, so this is all you need to remember. Fine. Now, earlier, let me tell you a story. Earlier, there used to be a brand which was famous among the electronics, right? So that was BPL. BPL was the name of the brand. Fine. And now consider this story that BPL brand, the electronic items were imported from Russia, right? These brands, these electronic items belonging to BPL, they were imported from Russia. So this is the story. Okay, this is the hypothetical story what we are remembering right now. Fine. So B say Belarus, P say Poland, L say Latvia, and then Russia. Fine. So this is how you need to be remembering the facts. Okay. Now, North Sea. North Sea is in news. Here is the map of North Sea. North Sea itself a big water body, right? So you need to remember the countries sharing border with North Sea. Okay, so you can see here it's UK, United Kingdom, right? Then Norway, then Sweden also, Denmark also over here, then Germany, which is sharing the border in this region, Netherlands, Belgium. Okay, so these are the countries which are sharing border with the North Sea. Fine. Again, in North Sea, you will get to see a few smaller water bodies as well. So here it's English Channel, right? English Channel, which is particularly connecting North Sea with the larger Atlantic Ocean, right? So this is a English Channel which is connecting North Sea with Atlantic Ocean. English Channel is in between France and UK. Okay, English Channel is in between France and UK. So I forgot to mention that France is also sharing its border with North Sea. So remember this as well. Okay, France is also sharing the border with North Sea. So these are the important facts and figures which you need to remember about North Sea. Here also you can see Skagerrak Strait. Okay, Skagerrak Strait is there, right? Which is there in between Norway and Denmark. So that is also the part of North Sea. You need to remember this. Okay, fine. Now we will look at the Middle Eastern region. Gulf of Elat, which is also termed as Gulf of Aqaba. Okay, so in case in exam, if Gulf of Elat or Gulf of Aqaba, anything is mentioned, so not to get confused, both are same. Gulf of Elat and Gulf of Aqaba both are same, right? So the geography of both will be also same, right? So you can see Gulf of Aqaba here. Now, Gulf of Aqaba is a smaller water body of a larger water body here. So, which is the larger water body? It is Red Sea, and inside this this particular part, there is a gulf which is named as Gulf of Aqaba. Al Aqaba is the city. Okay, Al Aqaba is the city situated on the coastal region, right, of Egypt here, and that is the reason the name is derived from this city, Aqaba, Gulf of Aqaba. Similarly, Elat is a city. Okay, Elat is a city in this particular part over here. So it is also referred to as Gulf of Elat, right? Gulf of Aqaba is sharing the border with which countries? So here you can see it's Egypt, okay, then Israel, then Jordan, and towards the right you will see Saudi Arabia. So roughly four countries are there. Okay, four countries are there which are sharing the border with Gulf of Aqaba. Okay. Simultaneously, have a look over Gulf of Suez. Gulf of Suez, right? Here you will get to see the Suez Canal. So Gulf of Suez is entirely within Egypt, right? So Gulf of Suez, the only single nation which is sharing the border is Egypt, right? Remember this. Fine. Then Yemen. Yemen was also in news for some another reason. You can see over here, Yemen, the geographical location of Yemen, you can see in the map. So Yemen is sharing its land boundary with Saudi Arabia and Oman. Right now, when it comes to the border shared between the water bodies, so you will get to see Yemen is sharing its border with Red Sea, and over here this part is being shared with Arabian Sea. Right now, you will get to see a small strait here, that is Bab el Mandeb Strait. Okay, Bab el Mandeb Strait. That Bab el Mandeb Strait is in between Yemen and Djibouti. Okay, Yemen and Djibouti. So these are the factual things you need to remember from perspective of Yemen's geography. Okay, then we will move towards the African region. Now here you can see Kenyan Lake, Lake Naivasha. Okay, so when it comes to Kenyan Lake, Lake Naivasha. So obviously it is um, um, understood that this Lake Naivasha is in the country of Kenya. So here is the location, right? On the larger perspective, let's have a look over Kenya. Like Kenya is sharing the border with which countries? So here you will get Sudan, then Ethiopia, Somalia, Uganda, and Tanzania. Fine. So here is the huge coastal area of Kenya, right? Now, guys, there is a question to you people. Tell me the name of this water body. Pause, pause right now and tell me the name of this water body. Okay, comment in the comment section. Fine. Now let's see the another geographical location, that is Lake Victoria. So this was the answer which I was expecting from you in the previous slide. Okay, Lake Victoria. Lake Victoria is in news for this reason. You can refer to the news. Now, it is being shared between three important nations, that is Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania. Now, in prelims, UPSC can give you options of Rwanda and Burundi. You should be remembering that these two countries are not sharing the border with Lake Victoria. Okay. Moving ahead, uh, you can read the news, that is Sudan People's Liberation Movement has declared famine. Okay, so wherever the famines are declared, wherever drought is there, all these and again, any conflict is going on in a particular region, so you should be aware about those things. Okay, so Nuba Mountains and part of Blue Nile State has been mentioned over here. So this particular thing what we are discussing is associated with South Sudan. Okay, it is associated with South Sudan, and that is the reason we need to understand the geography of South Sudan, right? So you can see this. Okay, this particular part is the South Sudan. Okay, so you can have a look over the boundaries, the countries which are sharing the borders. So Sudan is there, then Central African Republic, then DRC, that is Democratic Republic of Congo, then you have Uganda, Kenya, then Ethiopia. So these countries are sharing border with South Sudan. Okay, and this is what exactly is the border dispute area between Sudan and South Sudan. Okay, that is the boundary which is being again under dispute. Fine. Now, Djibouti and Yemen. We have discussed the geography of Yemen. Now we'll see Djibouti. Again, we have discussed that there is a strait in between the two countries, that is Bab el Mandeb, right? Between Yemen and Djibouti, right? So now looking at the geography of Djibouti, you will get to see that Djibouti is sharing its land border with Eritrea, Ethiopia, and Somalia. So there are three countries which shares the border with Djibouti. Okay. Now when it comes to the water body, so on the eastern side you can see Gulf of Aden. Towards the north, as we have discussed, Bab el Mandeb Strait is there, right? And there is a small lake which is being shared between Ethiopia and Djibouti. The name is Lake Abe. Okay, so Lake Abe. So that these are the facts which you should be remembering. Then मूविंग अहेड विल सी जाम्बिया. जाम्बिया का ज्योग्राफी हम लोग देखते हैं. विल रेफर टू द ज्योग्राफी ऑफ जाम्बिया. Particularly here you need to remember that Zambia is a landlocked country. Okay, so it's having its border with the neighboring countries only. There is no as such big water body surrounding the Zambia, or any like sharing any border with Zambia. Fine. So you can see you can refer to the countries. DRC is there, Tanzania is there, Malawi, fine, Mozambique, Zimbabwe. A small part is being shared with Botswana as well. Namibia is there, and Angola is also there. So these are the few nations which are sharing the border with Zambia. Okay. Now we'll refer to the Indo-Pacific region. So here Taiwan Strait was in news. It was in news in the last year also. Again, here it's in news. So let's refer to the geography of Taiwan Strait. Taiwan Strait is like in between the two big land masses, that is China and Taiwan, right? Now, Taiwan Strait is connecting two water bodies, that is East China Sea and the South China Sea. Fine. So these two water bodies are being connected by Taiwan Strait. And that is all with respect to the geography of Taiwan Strait. Then Mount Ibu. In the location, you can see that Mount Ibu is one of the Indonesia's most active stratovolcanoes. So where it is situated in Indonesia, right? So in this part of Indonesia, it is situated. So that is all with respect to Mount Ibu. So again, in UPSC prelims, UPSC can give you a match the following kind of questions. Let's say where different mountains can be mentioned and different countries can be mentioned, right? So you should be aware that which mountain is situated in which country. Again, most of the time it has been seen that those questions which UPSC asks, particularly with respect to geographical locations, are because those locations are in news, right? So you should be aware about such locations which are in news. Okay, fine. We'll refer to American region. So the first location is, or rather than location, it is a term. It's Northwest Passage. So what exactly it is? See, this highlighted red color line. This is termed as Northwest Passage. Now, this Northwest Passage is passing through, let's say it's starting from Davis Strait. Okay, it's passing through the Baffin Bay, then it's moving over here through the Beaufort Sea. So you can see that the northern part, okay, northern part of Canada and this part of USA, that exactly is termed as the Northwest Passage. Again, you need to remember that Canada and Greenland is being like again separated through this line, that is Northwest Passage. Okay. Now, Gulf of Mexico, you need to remember. Now again, some renaming associated with Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America was proposed by US President. So that is the reason it's in news. Now, as far as we know it as a Gulf of Mexico, so that is the reason we will be referring to it Gulf of Mexico right now at least. Let's have a look what is the geography of Gulf of Mexico. So as the name goes, Gulf of Mexico, so obviously it will be sharing the border with Mexico, right? Towards the north you can see United States is there, United States is there. Okay, then Cuba is there over here. So these are a few important facts and figures which you should be referring to. You can see that Mississippi River, the famous river of United States, is having its mouth in the Gulf of Mexico. Okay, then you can refer to small water body, that is Bay of Campeche. Okay, Bay of Campeche, so that is also to be remembered. And Yucatan Channel, Yucatan Channel is also there. So that channel is again situated between two land masses, that is one is Cuba and second is Mexico, right? That channel is again connecting two water bodies. First is Gulf of Mexico and second is the Caribbean Sea. So remember these facts and figures. Okay. Now, again, if you look in this part, so there is a strait. There is a Strait of Florida. Okay. So that Strait of Florida is connecting Gulf of Mexico with Atlantic Ocean. So these facts need to be remembered. Okay. Then moving ahead, South Georgia Island was in news. You can read the news why it is particularly news. So you can refer to this is the location. Okay, you can refer to the location. Location is situated in the Southern Ocean. Okay, it's situated in the Southern Ocean, right? It's towards the south of South America and quite a bit closer to the Antarctica. Fine. So this is the location of South Georgia Island. Now we will refer to the locations in news, particularly from India. First, we'll refer to the archaeological sites. So here you can see that two archaeological sites, Mithathal and Tigrana, okay, dating back to the Indus Valley period. So these two Harappan civilization sites have been unearthed in Haryana. Okay, तो हरियाणा में ये दो important sites जो है वो मिली हुई है और let's say Haryana government has officially declared these two sites as the Harappan civilization sites. Okay, now, so that is all with respect to the location. इसमें detail में जाने की जरूरत नहीं है. Protected areas, will refer to protected areas, particularly in part 1 we have referred to roughly 7 to 8 protected areas. So I request you people to read or let's say to go through the part 1, right? Note down the locations which we have discussed in the part 1, particularly protected areas, क्योंकि protected areas जो होते हैं, that is national park, wildlife sanctuaries, right? So all these things are asked in the exam, right? So remember them. Now here in part 2, like only single location is to be discussed. यहाँ पे क्या है? उमरेद पौनी कारहांडला wildlife sanctuary. Umred Pauni Karhandla Wildlife Sanctuary. So where it is situated? It is situated in Maharashtra, right? तो अब यहाँ पे देखोगे तो it is on the eastern or let's say northeastern side of Maharashtra. It is situated here. Fine. Then we'll refer to water bodies, particularly from India. तो यहाँ पे water bodies में the major thing what we are going to refer is different types of rivers. Okay, different types of rivers which are in news. So you might have come across some rivers which are not so popular, but UPSC has asked questions on them, right? Now you need to understand because like why UPSC is asking questions. because it's in news. That is the reason UPSC is asking questions. Okay, and those rivers are also not covered anywhere in the basic books. It's not covered in NCRTs also. So you need to be aware about such rivers, such water bodies, such other locations which are in news. Okay, so here in this slide you will be referring to Jhelum. Jhelum, like again, it's given in the Indian drainage system chapter of the NCRT, so you can refer there as well. But it's not mentioned like in detail as such, right? Here you need to understand that Jhelum River is the part of Indus River system. Okay, it is the part of Indus River system. So you can see here, this is the course of river Jhelum, right? Let's see the few factual details associated with river Jhelum. Its origin is at Verinag Spring, which is at the foot of Pir Panjal range, particularly in Jammu and Kashmir. Tributaries कौन से हैं? Which are the tributaries? Kishan Ganga River, Kunhar River, Sandran River, Bringi, and then Arapat River. So these are the 5 tributaries of Jhelum. Fine. Then Jhelum is itself a tributary of Chenab. You can see here. Jhelum itself is the tributary of river Chenab, and Chenab then connects. Okay, Chenab then connects ahead after into the Indus, right? So that is also need to be remembered. Fine. So Jhelum itself is the tributary of Chenab River, which further merges into the Indus River system in Pakistan. Okay, it flows through Vular Lake at Srinagar. So this fact is also to be remembered. Now, another river which was in news, that is Dhansiri River. Dhansiri River. So you can have a look over this diagram. This is the course of Dhansiri River. Okay, and it is connecting to river Brahmaputra. So you can understand that Dhansiri River is the tributary to river Brahmaputra. Okay, Dhansiri is a perennial river. It's a perennial river, so you should understand this. And it is also the tributary of Brahmaputra River. Now, through which states it's flowing? It's flowing through Nagaland and Assam. Okay. Two important protected areas are on the course of this river, that is Dhansiri Reserve Forest and Itanki National Park. You need to remember these things. What are the tributaries of Dhansiri River? Dayang River, Bifu Pani, Khora, Langlong, and Beopani. So these are the 5 tributaries of Dhansiri River. Fine. Moving ahead, there is another river, that is Mahadai River. Mahadai or Mahadai, so both are same. At times it's referred to as Mahadai, at times it's referred to as Mahadai River. Okay. So where it originates in Bhimgad Wildlife Sanctuary, Western Ghats in Karnataka. Okay. It's flowing through Karnataka, Maharashtra, and then Goa. Now it merges with Arabian Sea in Goa after joining the Juari River. So you need to understand that this river is first joining Juari River, and then that Juari River is going into the Arabian Sea. Now, Mahadai River is also referred to with different names like Mandovi in Goa, and at some places it's also referred to as Gomati. Okay, Gomati River in some stretches. Now, what are the key tributaries of this river? Nerul River, Mapsa River, Valvanti River, Dudhsagar River, and Udnai River. So these are the key tributaries of Mahadai River. So in case if UPSC asks in detail about the tributaries of these rivers, so you should be remembering these facts and figures. Okay, fine. So this is the course of Mahadai River. You can refer to this. This is the origin. Okay, this is the origin of Mahadai River. Then moving ahead, again a very important river from South India, that is Vaigai River. Vaigai River, you can see in this diagram, it's entirely in the state of Tamil Nadu. Okay, it's entirely in the state of Tamil Nadu. It's having its mouth in Park Strait. Okay, so its origin is at Periyar Plateau in the Western Ghat. So it's originating also from Tamil Nadu, and then it's having its mouth in the Tamil Nadu. So that is how you need to remember. End point is at Park Strait. So here is the Park Strait. Okay, then what are the major tributaries of Vaigai River? So again, you need to remember these: Suruli Yaru, Mullai Yaru, Varaga Nadi, Manjalaru, Kottagudi, Krudhimal, and then Upparu. Right. So these are quite a bit tedious names to be memorized, but I would advise you people revise it again and again, and these things will be memorized. At least you can solve MCQs if any particular name is asked in the option, right? Then you also need to remember one more important fact, that Vaigai River is also mentioned in Sangam literature, which is dating back to 300 BCE. Okay, so in Sangam literature, it is also mentioned. Fine. Now, that is all with respect to the geographical locations. Now, all what you're left with is the revision part. What I would advise is, for those people who have watched part one, it's fine. Just I hope you people might have made notes of part one and then you are revising it. If in case if you have not made the notes, just directly watch that video on 1.5x and that will be enough. Now, those people who haven't watched part one, I would advise you to watch part one. In case right now it's not the time to make notes, just watch it in a fast manner, okay, 1.5x, and then try to recall the facts and figures, right? Then come to part two, okay, and then like you should be again revising the content from part two. Watch it in 1.5x so that the things will be clear to you. Now, you need not spend some dedicated hours for just watching the video, or let's say for spending, or let's say for revising the geographical location. So what you can do is, when you're having your lunch, when you're having your dinner, when you're walking here and there, when let's say you're doing exercise or some sort of time pass, then try to watch this video in 1.5x, 1.25x. At least the locations will be clear to you, right? If in case the question is asked from these locations, you should be able to solve that question. Okay, so that is all, guys. All the best for your prelims examination.